Jurgen, Leicester marks the halfway point of the season. Your team's been incredibly consistent again. What do you have to do better in the second half to overtake Man City? And do the characteristics of your team mean that you believe that you can do that?
I think it's possible. That's why I think what we should think, because that's why we are here. But it's difficult. It's absolutely difficult. Imagine the consistency of City, but the consistency of my boys as well in the last few years. City became champion 3 years ago, 2 years. When was it? Yeah, 3 years ago. So we were champion 2 years ago, right? Yeah. So 3 years ago, City. So 1 point at a pass or 11 millimeters, stuff like this. So we were chasing through the whole year incredibly well. The year before that, we went to the Champions League final, but we lost it and all these kind of things. So the consistency the boys show is incredible. But that's the only chance you have in a league with probably the best team in the world. It's really tricky to be ahead of them. And so far, at least, we are not completely out of reach. It's not that we have absolutely no chance anymore, but of course you know that City will not drop a lot of points, so you better don't drop points yourself. But do we have to do better? No, first and foremost, what we have to do on the absolute top level is defending. That's how it is. That's how you have to do it. That's what gives you the chance for consistency. And on top of that, I really think we improved a lot football-wise. We play some really good stuff. We are more difficult to defend than we maybe were in the past. So we did some good steps. Will there be enough? I have no idea. But without being at least as consistent as we have been, we have no chance. And if we really want to go for the big one, we have to be even more consistent. And we will see if that's possible or not. But we will give it a try.
Thank you, Paul. Dom and then Chris.
Yeah, 4 years ago today, you completed the deal to sign Virgil. It's the 4th anniversary of the signing. I was just wondering, it's 4 months into his comeback, how do you feel that he's coped with everything? Because you've just talked about the players having to be at their edge, and he obviously plays in a position where there's no scope for anything else. But being on the edge and having had the injury yourself, how have you felt the last 4 months have gone, and how much do you think more progression do you think he's got to go?
Sorry, you're interested as well, or Matty likes your question. So
it makes a change.
Yeah, probably better. So, of course, really good. Long may it continue. Yeah, it's like it is. Obviously, the rehab worked really well, so he came back in a really good shape. Needed some rhythm, but very important. We got that rhythm. Is now back to his best for sure. And what helps us a lot and helped him a lot is that we have options around, that we don't have to push him through in moments when his body is giving a sign. So that he needs to step aside for a moment. That's very helpful, and that's why the situation is very good. And Virgil's arrival obviously was a big day in our common history. And it's a good example for a winter transfer, how it works. I think a winter transfer works then when you either wanted to sign the player the summer before or the summer after. Anyway, so that's the situation. It was the situation we wanted Virgil obviously in the summer already. For some reasons we couldn't do the transfer, but then in the winter we tried again and could get it through, and was a very important day. Changed a lot for us because in combination then with Joel, with Dejan and all these kind of things, with Joey, we all of a sudden could defend in a different way, could make the pitch smaller and all this kind for the opponent. So that was pretty helpful, and that's why we are really happy. It was exactly today, or what?
Yeah. Exactly 4 years ago today.
It's confirmed. It was confirmed.
Cheers on that then.
Thank you.
Okay, Dom. And then to finish, Chris Baskin for the last one.
Yeah. It's not dissimilar actually to Paul's question, but I was going to ask you if you agree that the team at the moment, the level is pretty much the same as the 2019 and 2020, but you just sort of almost indicated you think it's better in many ways. Is that what you were? Is that a fair assessment to what you just said? Or?
Not sure it's better, because obviously these seasons are difficult to really to top. But what you have to do in football, you have to find new ways and extra ways. You have to use the things you are good in, and on top on build on that. So that's pretty much. And I think because the teams that stayed together for a longer time now, even when we lost Gini last year, the majority of the team stayed together. It helps us in developing these things. That's why when you have a core group which played together for a while, then you can put in younger players as well, like we did in the beginning of the season with Harvey, who was absolutely outstanding and massively impressive in that period. When you bring in Curtis, then the way he performs is because we are that stable, and of course his talent. When Tyler is now coming in and these kind of things, then it's possible because the rest around works well, and we are there. So I hope I don't eat my words, but we are there more stable than we were in the past. But we have to stay like this, at least. That's the minimum. That's the minimum. We have to play flexible football, direct football, creative football. We have to defend rock solid, and to force things as well in games, like in the last minute, in the last second, in other moments. So we had already like periods in this year when we were 2-0 up, and then the opponent came back and all these kind of things. It's not that you learned that 3 years ago and you will never miss it again, but we had the situation this year, and we learned from it, and that's what we have to do as well. So the things we don't do right, we have to learn from, and that's what this group always did, and gives some reason at least for being optimistic. But again, opponents are incredibly strong, and even when they're not flying, they win the games occasionally, and that's a situation.
Well, to be honest, it might be difficult for you to answer, but I was thinking as well as one of arguably the greatest Liverpool teams, it might also be one of the most unlucky to come up against an opponent like Man City in this era. And I also wonder if there's a little bit of extra hunger there, because to have won the title when you did with no fans there, does that, pray to God that our fans can be allowed in? Is that part of a motivation to do it again? Or would that motivation always been?
Yeah, it is, but it doesn't mean it will be like this. Most unlucky because of City. I don't see that like this. I think City and us, we pushed each other on crazy heights, to be honest. So, like I said, imagine, but imagine we would have won the Champions League final the year before we won it. Imagine we would have won the the Premier League the year before we won it, and all these kind of things. It's that then it would be absolutely crazy what this group of players achieved. But we didn't win the Champions League final, and we didn't win the league for. You can say it's a point, but for me it was rather 11 millimeter. So in the game, I think it was Burnley against City or us against City as well, where it was really close. So there's nothing you can do better or whatever. It's just in these moments we were unlucky. So that's the situation. But it doesn't make when I think about the team in this period, there's no difference between becoming champion, and becoming second in that season, because the performance over such a long time was absolutely outrageously crazy. So it's pretty much not possible, but the boys did it and didn't stop after that. And that's why, yes, of course, we are motivated on the highest level, but it's not so much because we won the league and couldn't celebrate. It's like in 10 years, 15 years, when we look back, we won the league. So it's now not about the party around stuff like this. We had a party after Champions League final, yes, and we would like to have another party if we win something. But obviously, life taught us differently. So we have to appreciate the moments when we have the people around, and not think too much about the moments when we don't have them around. Just take it like it is, win what you can, and carry on.